changed his mind about everything, and I'm happy to admit it. Tell me about the progress of your thinking about politics. You're one of the reasons I respect you is because you've always been honest about how you think about things, and when you change your mind, you proclaim it loudly. The evidence changed, and so did my conclusion. I've heard you say that. So tell me what the progress was like for you.
Yeah, and it's interesting, we're in Wichita, which is actually fitting, because there is a reason that actually, and you know where I'm going with this.
I know exactly where you're going. There's a large black building nearby.
Yeah, I don't know if it's black or white or
it is
rainbow. It might be rainbow actually. Which is that early when I got my start in the.
Somebody said it right in the chat. Now I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do this.
What was the word?
Here, look at this for a second. So they know what's really going on down here. Cause I ain't going for it. They worship demons. They are demon worshipers, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Go ahead, pull it up.
It's all about transgenderism. It's all about transgenderism.
Little hand signals, they be doing that shit. What did Ice Spice do at the Super Bowl?
Yep. And this is what they call Baphomet. The demon with the devil horns that is transgender. Yes. They worship demons, god damn it. They worship demons.
Gotcha, bitch!
Same hand sign. Yep, transgender demon.
That was weird. I mean, what else can you say she was doing or signaling?
Yeah. I mean, what else? Demons.
Is that titties?
Yes, it's transgender. I told you it's a transgender demon. It's a male and female demon. You see where they get this stuff from? Allegedly, reportedly, no transgender hate, but well. You know.
Whoa.
Demons.
Conservative movement. In 2012, 13, 14, 15, hyper-libertarian forces had taken over the conservative movement. Now, I'm very libertarian on certain things. I'm libertarian on free speech, on privacy issues. I'm libertarian on guns, right? I'm libertarian on certain things. However, the kind of libertarianization of the conservative movement was actually not good for us. It was not good for us to stop caring about the nuclear family. It was not good for us to all of a sudden say that borders don't matter and that America is just an idea and it's an experiment. I fell for that crap for a couple of years in 2015, 16, 17. Again, I'm not trying to pick on any sort of thing here in Wichita, but billions of dollars have flowed out of this city into the conservative movement to try to make us less conservative and more liberal in the conservative movement. That's a fact, okay? It is a fact. And I think it's a tragedy, actually. And I credit Donald Trump for waking me up. Because Donald Trump, I never got angry at the time. I wasn't angry. I never got unsettled about when Donald Trump would insult a reporter or do the Rosie O'Donnell thing. Do you know what always made me unsettled? When Donald Trump would bluntly ask a question that I didn't have a good answer to. When Donald Trump would say, and why are we bringing in people from around the world that hate us? And I'd say, well, according to the macroeconomic theory as espoused by F.A. Hayek and von Mises, if you look at the curve, you have a steady flow of people coming from other countries, then your economic efficiency and output is actually outweighed and therefore a good thing. It's like, what am I saying to myself?
It's called rationalization.
And what Trump was able to do is he never went through that nonsensical abstraction like exercise. Wow. Because Donald Trump at his best is someone that has always been so focused on the real and the immediate. Job sites, construction sites, the muscular class, building real things. Donald Trump has never been worried about like the platonic idea of love. Like that is not Donald Trump's thing. Do we all agree with that, right? And
he went light on the Play-Doh in college.
And that's fine.
Sure. That's right.
And I'm not. And people say, "Oh, Donald Trump is dumb." No, Donald Trump is wise, and he does not get credit for being wise. Wise is the knowledge of things that do not change. So Donald Trump loves the country. He comes along, and he's like, "The country that I love is being abused, and it's become a dumping ground for the third world. It is actively being looted. This is bad." And at the time, I wasn't that forceful against the opposition, but I remember like privately being like, oh, he doesn't understand the economic theory behind all of this. And the more I was challenged and questioned, I didn't have a good answer to that. And so it made me start to ask the question, what do I really value? Do I value economic theory, or do I value my family and my fellow countrymen? Like, do I value a bumper sticker that says that, you know, I don't know, whatever stupid libertarian bumper sticker that was around, 5 or 6 years ago, we like live and let live? Or do I value children that should not be subjected to drag queen story hour at their local library? Like,
right.
Which one is it actually? And then I've always been a Christian and connect the dots. And I gotta be honest, Tucker, you were the one that radicalized me more than anybody else the last 5 to 10 years. Do you guys agree? Because then Tucker would go on his Fox show and would just start asking the same questions, and would have guests that would ask the questions. And they'd always attack Tucker. Oh, he's just asking questions. But isn't that what the pursuit of truth is all about? Yep. Isn't that what Christ our Lord did? And if you don't have good answers to simple questions, maybe you're not that deep. Maybe you've overthought yourself into some sort of word salad, and you can't answer in a beautiful and a crisp way because you're actually not that deep, and you're not protecting things that are good and that are true and everlasting and divine and eternal. And so for me, especially in 2017, 18, 19, where I said some really stupid stuff, it really made me go on this journey. And then when I met my wife and we got married and have children, all of a sudden I said, that's my mission statement. It's not about trying to defend democracy in Haiti. My mission statement is my children. My mission statement is to make sure my kids can be raised in a healthy, safe, clean, and orderly country, and not have to worry about some foreigner that's been imported from the third world that is going to commit violence against them, that they're going to have to compete against them to buy a home, that they're going to have to compete against them to get a job. And so my mission statement...
Well, compete, man, they just getting pushed to the front at this point. Like, man, I wish there was a compete.
Changed from something that was distant and very, very far away in the clouds to what is immediate. And those of us that are conservatives, we must understand, and Tucker hit it in his opening address, it is easy and it is simple and tempting to say that you're fighting climate change. It's hard to raise good kids. And the people who want to fight climate change, they tend to not put any of their energy towards raising good people.
Well, totally. I mean, no, I love it. I love everything that you're saying. And I just always think to I never articulate it, but I think a lot of things I don't articulate. As my wife always says, you need to understand the beauty of the unexpressed thought. But I often think when I'm getting a moral lecture from one of, somebody in charge, which is the one thing they're really good at, is immediately seizing the moral high ground. People who have no basis for moral certainty seize the moral high ground and start lecturing you like you're a bad person. But I always think to myself, why don't you, let's just start with the basics. Why don't you make the same woman happy for 30 years and get back to me? Okay? Why don't we start there? Have you done that? Have you made the same woman happy for 30 years? I don't think you're capable of that, actually. I also don't think you could change a tire. So why don't you shut up?
You can stay with them 30 plus years.
So yeah, because it's like all that matters are the things that really matter.
Every day.
And by the way, this whole system is created, and I mean the economic system, in which Joe Biden voters own 70% of the nation's wealth and the useful people own 30%. The whole system is set up to give money and prestige to useless people who in a fair society would be screwed because they can't do anything. And that's the truth. So all the things you actually need in life are provided by a really small number of people who are also the worst paid. Yep. So I'm just throwing this out there, and I don't mean any offense to the Kochs, but I actually think that we could get by a week in this country without private equity. I just think we could. I think we could survive. I think we could do that if we all banded together. Do you know what I mean? Or like the payday loan people. I think we'd probably make it without them. But we couldn't make it without like farmers, people who grow the food, or who fix the cars, or paint the houses, or plumb the bathrooms. Like, all the useful people are despised, and the totally useless people are deified. So it's like, how long could you live? If DEI consultants were eliminated tomorrow, would your kids come to you and say, Dad, I can't make it another day without a DEI consultant? Or school counselors. I don't know what to do. I don't have a school counselor. Some heavy-set, middle-aged lady pushing transgenderism on my kids. I don't know how we can exist without that. And the truth is, we'd be not only fine, but much improved. And yet they somehow have all the money and all the moral authority. And they're writing pieces in the Atlantic about how you're evil because you don't want to live next to the, people who just got here illegally. Like,
yeah, it's wild.
Sorry.
Great point. That was a great point. It's like, damn, I'm racist because what? The people who got here illegally just gets cut to the front of the line, and when I call it out, oh, I'm racist now?
I don't think that makes me racist. I think that makes me a realist.
Yeah, I think it makes you real observant.
That you rejected is this incredibly sophisticated justification for the worst kind of behavior, including economic behavior, which we've been trained to ignore. But how did all the money get in the hands of the worst people? How did the people who killed Jeffrey Epstein, how did they get private planes? And the best people in the country are like so deeply in debt they can't go on vacation. Like, that's not a good system. I don't care what you call it. It's not a free market. It's a totally rigged market, a market rigged for the worst people. Huh.
And look at where the wealthiest counties are. The wealthiest counties in America, which vote for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, geographically used to be around Chicago and Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati. It used to be in the heartland. Now 8 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in America are around Washington, D.C. It's the ruling class corridor. And what do they create? Well, you guys here in Wichita, Kansas, you create real stuff here. You make real things. It's not abstraction. You guys aren't just trading derivatives, and you're not just shorting stocks.
You're making airplanes. Like, I like airplanes.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes. Or you're extracting minerals from the earth, or you're growing food, or you're transporting those goods and services. You're making real stuff. And yet the center of wealth has gravitated away from production of things that you need to survive
in the chat.
towards an upside down looting operation that we call paying taxes. And that upside down looting operation is that you are penalized for playing by the rules. You have to pay taxes that you can't afford that break your back. And also you get a tax with inflation and everything else gets more expensive. And then the parasites in DC, they take that money and they reverse launder it back while they then are able to build an imperial capital for what? So our capital went from a place that was nice to visit and was clean and orderly to now being basically the wealth center of the country. And that is a bad, bad sign, everybody. The wealth place should be decentralized and around where entrepreneurs are, where real choices are made, where manufacturing is, not of just the managerial class. And then also look at what their values and their morals are. Around DC is the most secular, the least religious, the most hostile to your...
And it's crazy. He's talking about that trickle-down economics. He's like, why wouldn't we make it easier for the entrepreneurs, the corporations who give y'all jobs?
The private sector.
Yeah, who create the jobs. Why are we trying to make it easier for the managerial class? Yeah, and that's that 50K around there, that 60K and up. It's like, what are we doing? Because at the end of the day, it's the entrepreneurs and the corporations who create more of that class. That class creates more of, entry-level jobs, or, I think, intermediate or entry-level jobs. And then you go from there. Like, trust me, trickle-down economics work. It's just you don't put the effort to make it work for you.
Your value system and your worldview, and yet they're extracting your money, and they're not doing it voluntarily. And that's the kicker. For all of you here that have made money, you've made money through persuading somebody to buy your good or service. In DC, they make it by force, but with a gun. They put the gun to your head, give us money, and if not, we're going to put you in federal prison if you don't pay your taxes.
Well, damn.
And
basically,
in DC, similar to what we saw during COVID, is you fail upward. Anthony Fauci gets promoted after what he did during COVID. In a real world, Anthony Fauci should be in Gitmo for what he did during COVID. But in the world of DC, he's lauded. Peter Strzok Smirk, promoted. He has a professorship at Georgetown. Lisa Page, Lois Lerner from the IRS scandal. No one there is held accountable. And the founders never envisioned this form of government. And again, one of the reasons why Trump is so popular is that he has identified it and he has antagonized this Leviathan, this fourth branch of government. And I don't know how much more the heartland of the country can stand the abuse. And can I just talk about Springfield, Ohio, really quick? Which,
of course.
With the the Haitian cat eaters that are coming in. By the way, I did not anticipate us talking about cats this much in the 2024 election. It's just really amazing.
I don't even like cats, and here I am defending them, you know.
I'm neutral on the cat question, for the record, okay?
Eating the cats.
But Springfield, Ohio is a perfect example of how the ruling class has treated the heartland of the country. Step one, we close the factories and we send them overseas so that people don't have work. Step two, we flood those communities with opioids so that they're permanently addicted and we kill a lot of them. Step three, we send their kids, their sons and daughters to go fight no-win wars and they come back with permanent health issues. Step four, we flood their town with foreigners after we've completely abused and broken them and we sent their jobs overseas.
Yes, we did.
Step five, the residents who are still there and have survived all this abuse notice that the foreigners are doing really weird stuff and illegal stuff like driving ahead on traffic, killing kids, eating cats, and taking geese out of the pond. And then we call the people that are still there in Springfield racist after their factories have closed and their sons died in Iraq and they're addicted to opioids and their local schools being overrun by Haitians, but they're racist for noticing that their home is turning into Port-au-Prince. And you wonder.
I mean, shout out to Fox Chase 1993, man. Great watch, guys, man. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate that, dog. I'll make sure to go like his super chat.
Well, like I did. There you go.
Why Donald Trump's poll numbers don't go down. You wonder why so many people wear that red MAGA hat in Springfield, Ohio. Because he is the only lifeline that these people have. He is the only hope that they have. The only person that does not insult them or talk down to them and wants to lead a rebellion and, yes, a revenge campaign against the people that have done this to them and destroyed their home.
Amen.
My God.
Oh, God. Not only is it homicidal, which it is, the Sacklers are still billionaires, by the way. Their names are still in the buildings at Harvard. But it's insulting, and that's what I kind of can't take. I live in a very rural area. Our waterfowl season starts really soon. I got a call from a friend of mine yesterday. It's just interesting to see people's different takes on news stories. He's not against Haitians. He doesn't know where Haiti is. But he's like... And I've shot geese my whole life, I'll just say. I plan to do it again in a few weeks.
I ain't gonna lie,
and he goes, if I shot a goose without a license, my game warden would haul me off. Done. How do these people show up to our country, they kill the geese, and don't have to buy a license? I mean, it's a different way of thinking about it.
Appreciate the support.
But his takeaway was the same. And by the way, I just want to say, I don't think they're eating the geese. I think they're sacrificing them. I mean, they're coming from a country where witchcraft is the dominant religion. That's a fact. And anyone who denies it hasn't ever actually been to the country as I have or doesn't know anything about it. That's a fact. I don't think we should import people who practice witchcraft. I think that should be illegal. I'm sorry. It's my country. I
mean, do you know how disingenuous they were with that search? It killed me. I'm like, oh, y'all searched it. Okay, so you tell me, like, you didn't find no footprints. Like, what were you looking for? Footprints? Duck bones? Like, what was going on here?
Oh, the geese migrate. It's their migration season. Like, bro, they literally have personal accounts of people seeing these people hold geese by the neck. Police reports to match. But y'all want to talk about, oh, the geese are migrating. They went to Florida. Shut the hell up.
Gaslighting.
I want witchcraft here. Fair? Oh, shut up. I don't care what you call me. No witchcraft, because it's real. But what I notice most is the hatred that leaders have for the country. It's hatred. You watch them as they die, you don't care. You lecture them. Our senile president screamed at Americans who dared to complain about the disappearing geese today. You're racists. This is an attack on a group. No, it's not. Don't treat me with contempt. Giving people who come here illegally cell phones, housing vouchers, free plane tickets.
2024 call.
Rural hospitals across the country are closing because the emergency rooms are overburdened by people who broke the law to get here. You can't get health care. Try to go to an emergency room right now. You can't get medical care. You pay for that. It's the most insulting thing I've ever seen. It's, by the way, not an attack on the people who came here. I would have too. I mean, I'm not mad at them, actually. I'm mad at our leaders. I've never seen any population treated the way Americans are being treated by their leaders now. And I'm very worried that at some point people will be like, I'm not putting up with this. I don't know why anybody pays taxes in this country. I'm not, for the record, I'm not counseling not pay your taxes because I don't want to get arrested. But I just don't understand the consent level in this country is still incredibly high. Maybe we're just like moving through the motions or something.
I mean, I low-key be protesting off like, bro, our tax dollars are supporting this. What do you mean I'm racist? What do you mean I can't talk about this? It reminds me of that argument when, well, damn it. My favorite group that hates me, the FBAs, when they say, oh, you can't talk about our reparations. I'm like, what you mean nobody can talk about it, dog? Because it'll come out of everybody's tax money. So I'm just like, yeah, trust me, you didn't open it up for everybody to talk about it.
All the good people are the people they lecture and call names. And because they are good people, they're dutiful people, and they just do what they think they're supposed to do. But I don't know why they're doing it. Why would you send $1 to people who laugh over your death? Your nephew dies of fentanyl and they don't care, and you're still sending them money? I don't get that, honestly.
Yeah, and the answer, though, Tucker, is because they've done a successful pattern of show trials. And,
I know.
And no, this is a real thing. Why do I still pay taxes and you? Obviously, because we have friends in federal prison. Like Steve Bannon right now is in federal prison for not committing a crime.
Damn.
And so, they do this, by the way, to chill the population, to remind you that your door could get knocked on next and your business could get raided. Now, mind you, this is what Sam Francis, by the way, you're not allowed to talk about Sam Francis, who I love. He had a great term called anarcho-tyranny, which is anarchy for the stuff they don't care about, but tyranny for political crimes. So if you walk the streets of San Francisco, you'll see a bunch of junkies shooting up, people defecating on the side of the street. You could probably get mugged or robbed. Would anyone feel safe walking San Francisco at night? Of course not. And by the way, that alone is a violation of the social contract.
Dirty ass city right now. There's actually... Funny, there's actually an app that they developed in San Francisco. It's like a shit finder app because there's so many people publicly defecating on the sidewalks that people will just mistakenly step in shits. So an app developer, right? Silicon Valley, an app developer made an app so you could locate and target the shits that were on the ground.
And avoid it instead of just making the city, take accountability for it.
Bro, there's that many shits.
Oh, That's like, bro, gotta smell terrible.
I swear, I'm not making that up, bro. You have to look this shit up.
People gotta be getting sick, cause bro, that's like medieval times, like living.
Bro, it's the drugs, and then that area, what's it called? The Tenderloin. That's where everybody gets high and sleeps on the street and fucks on the street and all that good stuff.
If you can't walk your most beautiful cities in your country at night, your leaders have failed and they all must go. That is a very simple test of your leaders. If you cannot walk the most beautiful cities you have at night, you're done. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. If you can't walk in Dallas or Houston or Austin, if you don't feel safe in your own cities at night, then you're a prisoner in your own home.
Well, and what's the point of government? Like, what is the point of government actually? I mean, if
that's
public
the most
safety
basic thing
isn't the point of government, then what is it? To spread trannyism around the world? I mean, like, there's no other point.
Or taxpayer-funded abortions, I guess. I mean, but just to give you an idea of the scale, do you know that we have brought in 5% of the population of Haiti? 5% of the population of Haiti. Damn. And no one is stopping it because one of our core founding myths of the modern American experiment, neoliberalism, that Trump's trying to defeat, is that, well, diversity is our strength. Actually, diversity is not our strength. Unity is our strength, actually. Whoever came up with this idea of our differences make us stronger. It is self-defeating at its face.
Well, you're married. Is it true in your house? The less you have in common with your wife, the better you get along?
Yeah, those days are great. I mean, again...
Like what?
None of their bumper stickers or their cliches ever make any sense in practice at all. But understand, so you have Joe Biden scolding the population for caring that their home is disappearing. Who should be scolded are the people that are coming in their country and looting our country and saying, we're not going to put up with this. But you're right, Tucker, it is a contempt for the citizen. Why is there contempt? I've done a lot of thinking about this. And part of it is values. I think that's right. I think part of it is Christianity. But I really believe that there's such a hatred for Christianity that any part of the population that is like remotely Christian, they inherently hate you because the real goal is to eliminate Christianity. Do you notice that they never are like enthusiastic about bringing in major parts of the population of Eastern Europe that are super Christian? Yet they're like, let's go bring in the witchcraft country. Kind of weird. like more witchcraft, less Christianity. I don't understand how that works out. But the contempt is very simple, is that they think that they are so much better than you. It is an elitist hierarchical position, and that you're an annoyance. That your concerns, that what you're doing is just kind of stay out of the way. And I know people disagree with me. I think this is behind the push for legalizing marijuana. I think this is the push for trying to overly medicate the society, is they do not want a disagreeable citizenry. This is why they want testosterone rates to go down. This is why they wanted to kick the military men out of the alpha men out of the military with the vaccine, is because a population that asks questions and stands up to the powerful is a threat to them. So they'd much rather have you be subdued, just watch TV, not care about what's happening, and just kind of stay on your benzodiazepines or Valium or marijuana and 3 beers a night, and then you're agreeable. But what has always made America different as a beacon of liberty is that we would call BS on tyranny whenever we see it. And that is what is at the heart of this movement. And they look at you as an annoyance.
I agree with that completely. Fentanyl's fine, nicotine is dangerous. Okay, thanks. No, I think all of that is true. My sense, though, is that part of it is just human nature. You hate the people you harm, actually, and you love the people that you help. And if you've ever wronged somebody, or, for example, if you're in an argument with someone you love, and that person is being a little crazy, okay, you're not as bothered by it. You're not. Because you're like, that person, she, well, I'm right. I can be totally calm. It's fine. But if you behave like a jerk, and everyone who's married does, you're madder. Like if you sort of wrong somebody, you're madder at that person. And I think our leaders understand that they've really wronged the population, like in easy to measure and profound ways. They've screwed up on every big project for the past 30 years, every single one. Not just the worst, but all the economic planning, all the telling us that, you don't need to make anything. We can have an economy based on loaning money and real estate. Okay. Pat Buchanan's crazy, right? And they've been wrong at every turn. They know they have done the American population wrong. And I also think part of it is they're afraid. They're afraid. They don't have legitimacy. They know that. They're trying to hide that from us by classifying over 1 billion documents. Okay. That's part of that too. And in the way that people who've sort of reached the end of their excuses and know that like maybe people are on to them, they're rattled. And that's why they're putting people in jail. It's why they're spying on us, because they know that their grasp is loosening and they're freaked out. I can see it in them.
Yes. You are dealing with the most neurotic and paranoid ruling class in the history of the country. And they're paranoid and neurotic because they know they've done great evil.
Exactly.
And that evil is being exposed. They know that. They know that. So, and by the way, they do a bunch of cocaine, which only plays into their neuroses, right?
It makes you jumpy.
Yeah, a little jumpy, right? Oh my goodness, they're gonna find out what we did in Iraq. Yeah, we might actually. So, and
just leave an 8 ball in the West Wing, not a big deal. No idea where it came from. Okay.
By the way, that explains so much, doesn't it?
They're so the vibe that comes. It really is the happy party versus the miserable party. The sadness and the internal chaos.
And alrighty, here. Let me go ahead and get
transitioning to the next video, man. If y'all still in here with us, man, go ahead and like the video if you haven't already. As well as, man, if you're in here right now, you're not sub to the channel, man, go ahead and head over to this channel. Hit the subscribe button, man. Road to 30K, we right around the corner. We appreciate y'all support.
Warning, before we go ahead
when
and
I
start
judge,
this, before we go ahead and start this, now certain things might happen. We're not sure if it'll let us keep it on. If it does, just hang around. Don't worry, we'll be right back. Don't worry, dude, because let's how YouTube be tripping, bro.
My kids' sports, when I judge who won or who didn't win, I want it to be an even playing field, and I think.
In addition to that,
the term third.
The worst thing Kamala could do wouldn't be the best thing Trump could do.
I mean, like, bro, what has Kamala done?
That false equivalency is nasty.
He's like, come on now. The Trump derangement the Trump derangement syndrome is strong within this girl.
You see how far it goes sometimes. The shit it makes people say doesn't even make sense.
It's like, and here they are worried about something that's not even in their country. I mean, look, you just gotta pick up a rifle and go to Gaza and help out a mosque, and let's see how that works out.
I feel so strongly.
I mean, Paul, Hitler did a genocide, and he was doing that for how many years? Like a minute, right?
This is coming from a Trump supporter. As much as y'all say we MAGA or die, like,
yeah, but that was
a little bit wild. Yeah, that was a little bit wild.
No, sweetheart. You do have to fact check when you're telling the truth. If you think Kamala Harris is tell the truth, well, I got a nice little video for y'all. You know what? Why not? Because this dude did it the best.
Just to march down to the Capitol and nothing.
Let's go.
The moderators try and paint the events of January 6th as though Donald Trump only told his supporters to march down to the Capitol and nothing else. And then after shit hit the fan hours later, jumped on Twitter and told them to be peaceful and go home. And this is not entirely accurate. What Trump actually said to that crowd before the events ensued was that, "I know you will soon be marching over to the Capitol to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard."
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
And then he followed up hours later on Twitter telling his supporters to go home and that we are the party of law and order.
But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time.
And also Donald Trump was right when he said Nancy Pelosi admitted fault for not accepting Donald Trump's offer to send in the National Guard.
Responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. Should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
No, there's not a question of how they have been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Lie number 17, Harris says that Donald Trump incited a violent mob. Again, just covered it. Not true. Lie number 18, Harris claims that officers died in the line of duty on January 6th. This is false. Lie number 19, Harris alludes that Trump was charged with an insurrection. Again, this is simply not true. Lie number 20, Harris perpetuates the Charlottesville hoax, even though it's been debunked time and time again, including by yours truly. In actuality, he denounced it an hour and 49 minutes after the events, and then 2 times after. Here's what he really said.
And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Lie number 21, she claims that Donald Trump told...
Hey, yo, shout out full context, bro.
I swear, because missing it, that's when you get these clips of him just going around saying, like, oh, there were fine people on both sides. No. What he meant was there were fine demonstrators that showed up from the left and the right. He's not talking about the radicals. He's not talking about the extremists. He ain't talking about the people that was purporting violence, and he ain't even talking about the January 6th folks who stormed the Capitol. He told them people go home. But when he's clipped up, you can make it sound however you want it to.
Man, I mean, they've been taking Trump out of context for like the last damn near, man, where we at? 8 years now,
bro.
Told the Proud Boys to,
ever since that man said he was running,
stand back and stand by. So this is partially true, but there is a little bit more nuance to it than meets the eye. Donald Trump was asked by Chris Wallace during a debate in 2020 with Biden if he would denounce white supremacy and militia groups and tell them to stand down. Trump misspoke and said stand back and stand by, leading to confusion and people to think that he is affiliated with the Proud Boys, of which he is not.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
to do
specifically
that,
do it? Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by.
But even though they are not a white supremacy group to begin with, their leader, Enrique Terrio, is actually of Afro-Cuban descent.
Are you serious? Yes, the Proud Boys leader is Hispanic. Yes. I mean, this is about Hispanic as you can look. I mean, let's be real. Come on now.
That's what they don't want to tell you.
Take a good look at the Proud Boy leader, with all the MAGA behind him and all that, but this is him. Yeah. Shout out to our Hispanics. Shout out to the Latinos for Trump.
Lie number 22. The non-biased moderators claim that Donald Trump's remarks about winning the 2020 election are completely false, and that also more than 60 cases were seen by many judges and all dismissed. The truth is that no judges actually looked at these cases, and there's actually quite a lot of substantial and tangible proof to show that there was voter fraud and tampering of evidence. Again, this is a huge can of worms, and I plan to make a dedicated video to this topic alone at some point, so stay tuned. Lie number 23, Harris peddles the bloodbath hoax. Trump never said if he didn't win there would be a bloodbath. What he said was there would be an economic bloodbath in the auto industry.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line. And you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected,
just for the next
now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
Lie number 24, Harris claims that Donald Trump would be a dictator on day one. Again, this is just absolutely false. It stems from a town hall that he did with Hannity a few months back when he claimed that he would be a dictator on day one because he would shut down the border and drill baby drill. This was said jokingly,
Drill baby
and it
drill.
was very obvious in jest to anybody with a room temperature IQ.
Says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border, and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator,
That's clearly a joke.
Come on.
Clearly said in jest,
a political ploy.
slightly
Trump
sarcastic.
is a dictator. He wants to be a dictator. You're not going to be a dictator, are you? Tell me. I said, I'm going to be a dictator for one day. We're going to do two things. The border, we're going to make it so tight you can't get in unless you come in legally. And the other is energy. We're going to drill, baby, drill. After that, I'm not going to be a dictator. So I said, I'm going to be a dictator for one day. They cut it. They go, I'm going to be a dictator. But they cut the rest of the sentence. No, I am not going to be a dictator.
So that
I'm
right
gonna
there
manage
alone answers the
like we
question
did.
of, my bad. That right there alone answers the question of, oh, he said he's going to be a dictator. He said he's going to do this. He said he's going to do that. Bro, right there. He himself even said, yeah, they take me out of context when I say shit like
The
this.
wildest one was, I think the wildest lie was, he said he was going to put us in chains.
Like, bro.
I promise y'all kill me every day with that one. I'm like, oh,
man.
It's like, really?
If they say it, man, they know y'all are going to parrot it.
I mean,
run with it to the bank. Y'all be ready to
man.
cash in these lies. And then y'all come over here to a channel like ours who, like I said, we ain't MAGA or die, but when y'all come over here saying this shit, we look at y'all like, bro, come on, for real?
Like, can you give anybody, can you ever give Trump the benefit of the
Like
doubt?
bro said, like that shit was clear as day to anybody with a room temperature IQ.
Oh God, like bro, even with Tim Walz, bro been subpoenaed for fraud. We're not even going like he's guilty. We're being honest, but no, he was just subpoenaed. Nothing too serious unless he gets charged and we hear some convictions come down. Then yeah, we'll tell you. But other than that, I'll take it with a grain of salt.
Man, shout out Ohio in the chat, man. I see y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
25, Harris claims that Trump told Putin, quote, you can do whatever you want and you can go into Ukraine, end quote. This is simply not true. There is no evidence to support this wild-ass cockamamie claim.
Wild-ass.
Line number 26,
Cockamamie.
Harris claims that Trump and Kim Jong-un exchanged, quote, love letters. This one is just kind of elementary and a little silly. So the actual truth with this is, yes, Donald Trump made a joke about this years back in 2018 during a rally, claiming that him and Kim Jong-un used to be at each other's throats, and then they started exchanging letters, and then they fell in love.
I was really being tough, and so was he. And we would go back and forth, and then we fell in love. Okay? No, really. He wrote me beautiful letters, and they're great letters. We fell in love. But you know what? Now they'll say, Donald Trump said they fell in love. How horrible.
See?
How horrible is that? So unprecedented.
It was a joke. It was said in jest, but Harris was trying to insinuate that it's because both of them are dictators and they bonded over being dictators
and he
again.
wants to
That's
be
simply
like
not
him.
true. In fact, there was a point in time where it was getting very tense between the United States and North Korea.
Yeah.
But then Trump broke peace and became the
I mean, bro, North Korea was over here talking like, bro, if you keep effing with us, we'll send a missile to you. We'll find a way to build a missile to send it to you. And we were all laughing at him.
Wasn't that point in time, now correct me if I'm wrong, I know somebody in the chat might know, but wasn't that point in time where they had shit aimed at us?
Yeah. Intentionally.
Like, bro.
Actually, they was literally talking about, how we're intentionally trying to make missiles to reach y'all.
That could reach y'all. We're testing it out, making sure this shit can get y'all.
And we was making jokes at them. We was laughing at them. And then they actually tried it one day and we was like, okay, they damn near got halfway across the Atlantic. Now we got to worry a little bit.
Bro.
very first U.S. president to ever set foot on North Korean soil, which I think is a good thing. I don't know about you guys, but
very diplomatic.
I tend to lean towards peace.
Before
Line
that,
number
bro,
27, Harris claims that
North Korea was what, Dennis Rodman?
Yeah, I don't think that was the best.
Like, bro, what? Nobody going over there and shaking hands, being diplomatic with that man, but Trump. Shout out.
Hey.
And other dictators are rooting for Donald Trump to get back in office. But the funniest thing is that Putin actually came out and recently endorsed Harris. Line number 28, Harris claims that there are no active duty troops in any combat zone anywhere around the world for the first time in a century. This is false. I'm going to be looking at my notes here. There are currently active duty U.S. troops deployed to Iraq and Syria who have been under frequent attack by Iran-backed militia forces over the past year. There are also thousands of active duty U.S. sailors deployed to the Middle East who are facing drone strikes. And just earlier this year, 3 U.S. soldiers were killed on the border of Syria by Iran-backed forces. Line number 29, she claims that Donald Trump called for the death of the Central Park Five. So again, I've already debunked this. Go look for my video called Epic Debunking that I mentioned earlier. I go much more in depth there, but
and shout out Michael Joseph, man, with the $5 super chat. Good shit, hunting down the truth about our candidates, man. About our candidates, man. No problem, though. Trust me, we got you, Michael, man. Because they always try to lie on this man, Trump. Actually, I would say both sides lie on each other, but the problem is that the lies that the left tell is just like so crazy. It's like, all right, bro, we know y'all just shifting numbers here, y'all misconstruing people. It's crazy.
But again, I will just briefly say there is absolutely...
They sensationalized this man, and it didn't work last time. They keep doing it, and look where they're at still. It's like they don't get that this don't work.
No proof that Donald Trump called for their execution. Did Donald Trump think they were guilty? Yes. Does he still think that they're guilty even though they were legally exonerated? Yes. Does that mean that he actively called for their execution? No, it does not. Read the article in its entirety. Don't listen to other people tell you what it says. Read what it says. Line number 30. She claims that her and Joe Biden capped the cost of insulin at $35. Again, I've already debunked this and covered it before, but I'll cover it briefly once more. Donald Trump was the one to cap the cost of insulin at $35.
What? Hey, yo. Hold on here. Now, this is something that I don't think these Kamala supporters is ready for. Donald Trump capped it? Oh, here we go. 2020. Let's see what he said.
It's just $35 a month per type of insulin, and some plans may offer it free. So for everybody that was getting ripped off and paying tremendous prices, senior citizens, is a tremendous saving.
It is President Biden and I that took on Big Pharma and finally capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month. But Donald Trump and his running mate intend to get rid of our $35 cap on insulin.
Line number 31. Harris claims that she is fine with private insurance, but her comments in the past would suggest that is a flat-out lie.
Up on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, to reiterate, you support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care. Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
And finally, at lie number 32, she claims that her and Joe Biden created 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. This is simply not true. The BLS shows that 592,000 of those manufacturing jobs were recovered from COVID. Donald Trump alone created